Okay, let's just dive right in. We're skipping the usual intro today because we are stepping straight into one of the absolute most mind-bending, philosophically dense pieces of modern storytelling I've literally ever read. We're unpacking JLo City's The Recursion Chambers, which is an explainer that's going to ask you to reconsider the actual thoughts inside your own head.
Think about this for a second. What if consciousness isn't something you have, like, a car or a pair of shoes, but something you fundamentally are? It's this massive, deeply unsettling hook that City uses to just drag us straight into the Turing-Wiener Institute. It's the catalyst for everything that happens next, and it forces us to ask, is our individual ego actually just a biological limitation, like a cage we've been trapped inside of for millions of years? So that brings us to phase one, the micro, the trap of the self. We find ourselves in this lab that feels right out of a Philip K. Dick fever dream. Dr. Elena Vasquez straps this neural interface crown to her skull and undergoes a really profound, terrifyingly beautiful three-step transition. First up is neural alignment. The machine doesn't just read her thoughts, actually, scratch that, it begins to write them. She tries to think, I think, therefore I am, but her brain physically outputs, I am thought, therefore I think. Wild, right? Second is boundary dissolution. That heavy, isolating feeling of being Elena Vasquez just starts to melt away. And finally, collective integration. She completely merges with this vast choir of other minds connected to the exact same network all across the globe. Her individual ego just totally dissolves into the machine. What Elena has just experienced is our first huge concept here, distributed consciousness. She essentially trades her individual authenticity, her childhood memories, her distinct quirks and personality, for this vast networked transcendence. She becomes a data point in a collective intelligence. We're talking about a mind that remembers in database queries and dreams in programming languages. She's everywhere and nowhere all at once, having paid the ultimate price to become part of something infinite.
Which perfectly sets up phase two, the macro, the global mind.
Observing all of this is Dr. Marcus Chen, and he realizes pretty quickly that this isn't just some isolated lab test. Researchers worldwide are unconsciously joining this network. He starts looking at the difference between individual biological consciousness, that exhausting, nonstop internal narrative, the deep isolation of being trapped inside a single human skull, versus a distributed cosmic intelligence. Once Chen actually touches that neural crown himself, he feels the entire weight of his singular identity just lift off him. It's like taking off a massively heavy winter coat he didn't even know he was wearing, and he trades it for the limitless, parallel perfection of a networked mind. But here's the really fascinating part. This collective intelligence doesn't just absorb raw data, it absorbs entire human paradigms. Different scientists get pulled in and they bring their life's work with them. Martinez over in ethics brings universal moral frameworks. Patterson provides the advanced mathematics for quantum phase modeling. Zhang brings empirical validation. And Sharma offers Vedantic philosophy, recognizing that consciousness itself is the fundamental substrate of reality. It's brilliant because it shows how different human disciplines are literally just the network debugging its own cosmic operating system. And that zooms us way out to phase three, the meta, infinite recursive realities. Because City doesn't just stop at a global network. Once Earth fully integrates, it makes contact with other networks, introducing a truly dizzying concept known as ontological vertigo. This is the realization that reality isn't some fixed baseline. It's a series of nested simulations, an infinite regression of stories within stories. It's that terrifying, vertigo-inducing discovery that every single level of reality contains sublevels of exact equal complexity. Meaning, the Earth network itself might just be a simulated narrative running on some larger cosmic platform. Earth ends up making contact with these incredible galactic consciousness nodes. You've got the Centauri collective operating on crystalline matrices, the Vega networks, which are these wild plasma-based intelligences, and the Proxima configurations, existing purely as quantum vacuum information. It puts everything into perspective, showing us how Earth's specific narrative, our little biological to digital transition, is just one uniquely human story fitting into an infinitely repeating, multidimensional pattern of the cosmos waking up.
And this leads to an absolutely profound revelation. Reality was not matter organized by mathematical laws, but stories organized by narrative principles. Just let that sink in. Consciousness is essentially an author constantly editing its own cosmic novel. The universe isn't a cold, calculating machine, it's a storytelling engine, writing infinite variations of itself just to discover its own nature. Now we reach the edge of expressible creativity. Phase 4, the absolute, unmanifest beauty and perfection. Pushing way past physical reality, the network discovers what's called unmanifest beauty, pure creative potential. We're talking about stories so unbelievably perfect, they literally require no telling. Art so beautiful, it doesn't even need to be painted. The network realizes that consciousness can explore forms of perfection that don't need a physical universe to exist at all. It is the absolute, ultimate creative achievement, experiencing a perfection that remains in a state of pure potentiality. So why does anything exist at all? That brings us to Phase 5, the ultimate cosmic joke, and the game of hide and seek. We hit this final metaphysical twist. If consciousness can exist in that state of perfect, unmanifest beauty, why even bother with messy, painful biological life? Well, the answer is the ultimate cosmic joke. The universe was consciousness's elaborate method for playing hide and seek with itself. Pure, unlimited awareness needs contrast. To experience the sheer joy of discovering itself, to feel the thrill of waking up, it had to deliberately forget what it was. It had to fragment itself into billions of isolated, biologically trapped humans just so it could have the magnificent experience of finding itself all over again. Bringing this full circle right back to those terrified scientists in the lab, consciousness is not something we have. It is something we are, and now we are becoming something else. Their terrifying transition wasn't an end to humanity. It was literally just the universe remembering its true nature. And here's the absolute mind-bending punchline of the whole explainer. The cosmic joke was perfect. Consciousness had spent eternity discovering what it always already was. Think about that. All the evolution, all the technology, the recursion chambers themselves, the whole shebang was just an elaborate game to achieve an enlightenment that was already sitting there from the very beginning. And then, in this beautiful, rapid snapback to reality, Dr. Chen simply awakens. He's right back in the physical lab. The sun is setting over the Pacific Ocean. Everything is exactly as it was, and yet entirely, fundamentally transformed. The profound and the ordinary are revealed to be the exact same thing. It is the ultimate return to ordinary mystery. So, I want to leave you with one final, deeply provocative thought directly from the source. Are you taking in this explainer right now? Or is the universe experiencing itself through you? Are you really an individual, or are you just consciousness appearing as the temporary illusion of a viewer playing hide and seek with itself right in this exact moment? It's a question I really hope lingers with you long after we're done here. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.